Welcome, everybody. Thank you for coming. I was just talking about what book I'm going to read next after I finish my read of Killing America by Gene Bailey. You know that book, Killing America?
Chapter 11, Call to Occupy.
Ugh, God, this book is insane, bro. I think the next one I'm going to read is either Stephen Strang's God and Donald Trump.
Every prediction about the 2016 race was wrong. Those of us who brought years of experience and effective governing to the race found that voters were not interested. They blamed everyone from Washington for the mess, and even blamed those of us who had never worked in D.C.
Either that or Ray Comfort's book on Hitler, God, and the Bible, about how Hitler was an atheist who hated Christians, wanted to destroy them. Complete nonsense from beginning to end, obviously, and I'm an expert in this specific area of history. So it could be interesting to cover. Did I TTS this one?
One of my most heartrending
No, I did not TTS this one with the new cleaned up version.
experiences was to visit Dachau near Munich, Germany, one of Hitler's terrible concentration camps. The stench of death still lingered over the place.
Yeah, I'm going to have to re-TTS that down the line. Anyway, not right now. Let me just pull this one up, since we'll be covering this next. Let's talk about the first subject, shall we? Jake Lang starts at 02. All right. This is Jake Lang, a January 6er who was pardoned by Donald Trump and then went on to commit more and more crimes and go to jail multiple times after that, recently even. Well, he's decided to speak at a church about how woke has gone too far. And what was this one? We have to fight back against outsiders stealing our land. He fancies himself a Native American, I suppose. Actually, he really does. He calls himself a Native American. As a white European, he is a Native American. This is natively his land. That's how he frames it. No joke.
Thank you, Pastor, for having me here today. God bless Detroit. We're going to take our country back. America was founded by Christian men with principle, okay? The people that had usurped Detroit, I mean, just 2 miles from here, they are siphoning your wealth. They are stealing the land from you, right out from underneath your feet. And I went through too many years in prison for President Trump and for this great nation to come out and to be shallow, to be a coward. I will stand for Christ. I am not ashamed of the gospel of Jesus Christ.
Okay, it's kind of hard to make out what he's saying. I will stand for Christ, he says. I went to prison for too long for Trump and this country, huh? Is that why you went to prison? You didn't go to prison because you... What was it he did? Was he the stun gun guy? Hold on. Give me a second. I'm just trying to find an answer here. Hold on. Yeah, okay, so people commonly separate January 6ers into two categories. There are the gullible suckers who showed up and were just kind of walking through the rotunda or whatever. And then there were the violent insurrectionists who actually had a plan and had buried guns and were orchestrating an actual real coup attempt against the U.S. government, right? Well, Jake Lang is the latter. He was one of the insurrectionists who was planning a coup attempt against the U.S. government and was trying to usurp democracy intentionally and knowingly. He was held in, hang on. Wait. I'm sorry, give me a second. His charges were assaulting federal officers with a dangerous weapon, civil disorder, obstruction of an official proceeding, and related counts like that. I'm just looking through here. Yeah. He appeared in a lot of video, apparently, of January 6th, which is why the case was so strong against him. When people talk about violent insurrectionists, they're talking about this piece of shit right here. That's the point. So what was it he said? Let me look at the transcript here. To come out and be shallow, to be a coward, I will stand for Christ. I would love to say to the God for Jesus Christ, every single corner, every single street.
Christ. I am not ashamed of the gospel of Jesus Christ. Every single corner, every single street in this nation, we can preach the word of God. Yeah.
Like people aren't already fucking doing that? Like people aren't already screeching from the top of their fucking lungs about hating gay people in the middle of Times Square and everywhere else? Like that's not already happening? Like you're some kind of a fucking victim for being a Christian? Please. These people are fucking insufferable, dude.
Corner, every single street in this nation, we can preach the word of God. Yeah. And if we can't, then we must stand and fight.
If we can't preach the word of God, we must stand and fight. Are you fucking kidding me right now? Really? In what universe can you not preach the word of God on any street corner in the United States and get claps from everybody around you? They are perpetual victims, bro.
If there is an oppressive religion, if there is some type of mongrel third worlders here that are going to stone us for preaching the name of Jesus, we must stand. Yeah. Like our forefathers did.
I'm sorry. Let me just check the transcript. He said, if there's an oppressive religion and there's some type of... Wait. I'm trying to hear it, but it's really poor quality.
Us for preaching the name of Jesus, some type of mongrel third worlders here. Amen. If there is an oppressive religion, if there is some type of mongrel third world...
If there's an oppressive religion, if there's some kind of mongrel third worlders here
stone us for preaching the name of Jesus, we must stand.
That would stop us from preaching in the name of Jesus, we must stand. That's literally not happening.
Yeah. Like our forefathers did.
Like our forefathers did. Stop the mongrel third worlders. Our forefathers. I guess he's talking about the founding fathers, right? Stopped third worlders. Does he have any idea what the term third world even means or where it comes from? I doubt it. Hold on. Give me a second here. I'm just looking through. Yeah, this is what I thought. First world is Cold War alignment. Cold War, which is after World War II. First world was the US and its allies, NATO, Japan, Australia, etc. Second world was the Soviet bloc and its allies, Warsaw Pact, China, Cuba. And third world, everyone else, the non-aligned, mostly newly decolonized states. That's where the term came from.
The people who claim this nation, we're not afraid. So why do we have the spirit of fear, Detroit? Why are we in our homes?
Wait, does somebody have the spirit of fear? What the fuck's he talking about right now?
Cowering while these people are building a paradise off of your money. Wow. You see what they're building every single day. They're taking more from you and feeding their family with their 4 or 5 wives, right?
Wait, they're taking your money, these third worlders, and feeding their family, their 4 or 5 wives? Is that what he's saying? These people genuinely live in a fucking delusion. What the fuck is he talking about? It's seriously horrifying to listen to the conspiracy theories come out of these people's mouths. Complete and total delusion. This ridiculous persecution complex. Where the fuck did he come up with all of this? This is fucking wild.
Multiplying like cockroaches. They're outbreeding us, and they're stealing our wealth, and they're taking over the local government.
Outbreeding us like cockroaches. I mean, not for nothing, but this is literally identical, word for word, what Hitler said. I don't like being that guy that compares people to Hitler, but it is identical to what Hitler said. Identical. So the real question is, do you want to support somebody who is a Nazi? Who is a straight-up Hitler-loving, Sieg-heiling Nazi? This dude should have stayed in federal prison. And it's a fucking travesty that he's not there.
They are changing the way we govern ourselves. In Hamtramck, they just made killing animals in sacrifice legal.
I'm sorry, what? They made killing animals in sacrifice legal? What the fuck's he talking about? I mean, he's talking about Satanists, right?
Right out from underneath our feet, just a couple miles from here. Are you kidding me, Americans? The laws are changing. The demographics are changing. White people...
They're really not. The demographics, quote unquote, are not changing. Okay? This is a conspiracy theory that is actually from Nazi Germany. It was actually created by the Nazis in Germany. That may not be where it originated, but it was used there heavily. The Great Replacement. The idea that the Jews are trying to replace us, or whatever demographic out there. They're evil and they're trying to replace us. It's nonsense. That's not how anything works. That's not how anything has ever worked.
People and black people, we're not having enough.
Hang on.
The demographics are changing. White people and black people, we're not having enough babies.
White people and black people were not having enough babies.
Fight back in the bedroom.
Fight back in the bedroom.
Come on, Americans.
I want to fight for Jake, y'all. I love that. I love it, man. Come on, let's lay hands on Jake. Come on, man. Come on, man. That's my elders. To my elders. Our pastor Marcus here. Come on, someone, our brother loyal. Somebody say this Tuesday, 6 o'clock. Meet me at Dearborn. Yes, Dearborn. Come, let's lay hands on him. In the name of Jesus. Father, we pray, Father. Come on, everybody, lay hands on him. Father, we pray in the name of Jesus. You have used Jake to stir up a nation.
These people are fucking evil. It's just mind-blowing to me that we are now at a point where Nazi conspiracy theories are mainstream and common and normal and expected. That is fucking insane. And by the way, if you didn't know who Jake Lang was before, you may recognize him from this.
This morning, a right-wing influencer facing charges for his latest stunt here in Minnesota.
Jake Lang was booked into the Ramsey County Jail yesterday after the 30-year-old posted a video to social media. It showed himself destroying an ice sculpture just hours after it was unveiled at the state capitol. And here's what the sculpture looked like. Lawmakers and veterans and community leaders unveiled it more than a 20-foot-long frozen statement in Earlier in the day,
Right, it said prosecute ICE. It was a giant sculpture. It cost like tens of thousands of dollars, if I'm not mistaken. And they got a permit to put this sculpture up in front of City Hall for like 12 hours or something, and they paid to have it cleaned up afterward and everything else. And Jake Lang comes along and kicks down SECUTE. So now instead of saying prosecute ICE, it says pro ICE. He went to jail for like 2 days for that or something, and he got out basically immediately. And not long after that was around there harassing the local community once again. He's the biggest piece of shit alive. He is one of the worst. One of the most evil people. Just disgusting. Disgusting behavior, dude.
this creation, it read prosecute ICE. Authorities say this was a permitted display at the state capitol. Lang left the scene in a vehicle, but State Patrol says he was pulled over by a trooper and arrested. He was booked on suspicion of criminal damage to property. One of the organizers of the ICE sculpture sent us a statement saying in part, quote, "I gave 8 years of my life in service to this country, to the military. For a January 6th insurrectionist to destroy our display is an attack on the First Amendment veterans like me fought to defend." Lang was pardoned by the president last year.
6:06 right now. The Minneapolis.
He's fucking disgusting. He's a disgusting human being. Here's another one. Yeah, he goes into a bar and he starts shit with people. Notice he's wearing another Nazi symbol. The Iron Cross isn't just a Nazi symbol, though. So it would be fair to say he's just wearing it like a normal thing. But it's kind of... Wait, does this say Deus Vult? That's a Christian crusader term, isn't it? So he's wearing a Nazi symbol on his shirt with a Christian crusader like symbol, text or whatever. And he walks in to this restaurant and he starts shit with people for no reason. I believe he started getting in somebody's face and asking if they were an illegal immigrant, if I'm not mistaken. And then this happens.
That's what you get when you're a patriot, right? Because we support ICE and you don't support ICE.
It has nothing to do
So
with
that's what I mean.
We're just simply allowed to not, like, he's a veteran as well. Like,
I'm the other way. This is a patriot. We're getting kicked out of this bar here because we support ICE.
No, it's not because they supported ICE. It's because he was harassing people.
American patriots, we support President Trump. We support President Trump.
we're allowed to kick people out. You know?
Yeah, I know, but why are we getting?
We have the right to receive
But what did we do? Yeah, but why? Because we support ICE. We're sitting there talking about. Hey, we're gonna deport all you sons of bitches. All right. White people aren't allowed.
White people aren't allowed. It always goes back to race with him, doesn't it? It is all about race. He can't imagine a world in which people like don't fucking hate each other or aren't in competition with each other over race. There are some real evil human beings out there. Real evil people. And Jake Lang is one of them.
And I refuse to have you record
Don't you touch me. Don't you touch me.
I refuse to have
First
you
Amendment
record
right.
me.
First Amendment? No, it isn't, you fucking idiot. It's not. As a matter of fact, you don't have a First Amendment right on someone else's property. You have that right on public property. Are you on public property? He's in somebody's establishment who's asked him to leave. They are perfectly within their rights to escort him out or call the cops to get them to force him out. You cannot record on somebody else's property if they ask you not to. But, like, does any of that matter to him? No, of course it doesn't. Completely fucking irrelevant, because he knows he'll never face consequences for any of his actions. He knows he can get away with anything and literally get a pardon from the president for it. Just a vile human being, and at the end of Trump's term, when he leaves office and a new guy gets in, every one of these people are going to pay a legal price for what they're doing. There is a limit. There is a point at which things changed. Things are not the same as they used to be. Okay, Trump 1.0 was bad. Trump 2.0 is not just bad, it's something else. And I think we all know that. Ignoring the courts, sending ICE in as his personal private military to harass and fuck with people he doesn't like, arresting his political opponents, even people who ostensibly agreed with him on everything else except for, you know, people who like leaked stuff about him, like John Bolton, for example, was arrested by Donald Trump's Department of Justice because he leaked things about Donald Trump. We're in a new world, okay? We don't live in a democratic republic like we used to. Not in the same way. It's different now. And I think everybody can see that. Looking back through history at when this happened at other points, when things changed dramatically like this, every single time there was always a reckoning. There was always a limit where people were pushed so far that there was no coming back. There's no fixing it. These people are fucked. I'm telling you. Studying history the way I did, these people are fucked. Trump, maybe not. Probably not. He's like 93 years old at this point. He's probably going to die happy in his bed surrounded by women that aren't his wife, more than likely. But everybody all the way up and down the chain who facilitated what he did is fucked. Let me know what you think in the comments. All right. Let me write down the timestamp on that one. That was 23. And then the next one, let's hit the harvested eggs one. Right here. Yeah. Harvested eggs. This is a pretty short article. So let's see if I can... Hold on. Give me just a second here. I'm going to start my TTS server. And while it's starting, we'll start talking about stuff. There's this televangelist named Katie Souza who claims that aliens stole her eggs and created a hybrid named Starburst. Seriously, listen to this.
I was visited when I was a young girl, and alien beings, implanted an interdimensional device in me that harvested my eggs over my lifetime. Because eggs, you get hundreds of thousands of eggs when you're born with hundreds of thousands of eggs if you're female.
Okay. She thinks that aliens implanted a device into her to harvest them? Okay, well, that's a testable claim right there, isn't it? By the way, Mr. Lang actually worships Baal and Moloch. Does he? I don't know. I'm unfamiliar. I want to see him go to a tribe in the jungle that practices cannibalism and try to pull these shenanigans. Yeah, try to pull this shenaniganery, right? He definitely has the Trump 2028 plug inserted, right? Yes. Do you think there's any way Trump's going to run in 2028, actually?
Ask any author you know what it's like to promote a new book, and you will...
Sorry. Do you actually think Trump's going to run in 2028? I suspect not. I think he's just trying to get attention, personally. But I don't know. I guess we'll see. There's no way in hell. He's going to be like 84, in all seriousness. He's already old as sin. There's no way in hell he's going to run again. Also, wear more tank tops. Okay, thank you. I appreciate that. I will keep that in mind. Next time I see a tank top in the drawer, I'll pull it out. Maybe come to the Wednesday and Thursday streams on Unfiltered. Those are a little less formal. Anyway. All right, let's keep listening here.
But they don't mature until you ovulate. So
until you ovulate. They're not mature, the eggs, until you ovulate. Go on.
This device obviously was harvesting them right when they would mature, so that they could then try to work their work. And I have no idea how they do that, but to try to create a hybrid child, which they actually eventually did. And I saw it. I was shown it, and its name was Starburst.
Starburst. Starburst, the hybrid child, the hybrid alien human child. Okay. These people need fucking help, dude, really. She's a televangelist. What the fuck? People look to her for spiritual guidance.
Yeah, that's why my husband and I are childless right now.
You're childless because aliens were harvesting the eggs and produced a hybrid? Now it's starting to sound like this woman just doesn't know how to grapple with the pain of being infertile and is on the struggle bus, if you will, and is coming up with any excuse she can possibly imagine other than she's just infertile. That's sad. That's really sad. Yes, if he's not dead, he will 100% not relinquish power. Go ahead and screenshot this comment. Okay. Well, in how long is it now? A year and a half? Is it a year and a half or 2.5 years? We'll revisit this conversation. I bet not. I bet he's not going to run if he's still alive. And you bet he is if he's still alive. I guess we'll see.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's absolutely fucking wild. Anyway, listen to this article from Hemant Mehta on the subject. Check this out.
Ask any author you know what it's like to promote a new book, and you will inevitably hear stories about how tough it is to break through all the chaos of the news.
Yep, I've written 3 books now, and yes, it's very difficult to break through the chaos that is the news.
You'll try anything to get people to pay attention to your book during that short period of time around when it's published, but unless you're already famous or have great connections, it's rough. In the case of convicted criminal-turned-Christian evangelist Katie Souza, she has a brilliant marketing plan to convince the most ignorant religious people to buy her new book about how aliens are engaged in the spiritual warfare ministry. Just tell everyone that aliens stole her eggs in order to create half-alien, half-human hybrids.
Actually, just as the Bible foretold. Actually, I'm going to try to get this book, and maybe we'll read it on stream. Right now I'm going through Killing America by Gene Bailey, about how the left is killing America and how the right has to fight back against America being killed with more killing. I'm not joking. That's a pretty wild story. But maybe this will get added to the queue. Maybe we'll read this book. I'll see if I can find it.
I was visited when I was a young girl, and aliens. Alien beings implanted an interdimensional device in me that harvested my eggs over my lifetime.
This is Katie Souza, by the way, I believe from her book. Or no, maybe this is from the interview that we just watched.
Cause eggs. You get hundreds of thousands of eggs when you're born with hundreds of thousands of eggs if you're a female. But they don't mature until you ovulate. So this device obviously was harvesting them right when they would mature, so that they could then try to work their work. And I have no idea how they do that. But to try to create a hybrid child, which they actually eventually did.
This is a fucking wild thing to say. What the fuck?
Yeah, that's why my husband and I are childless right now. Yep. She also believes alien implantation causes infertility, which will come as a shock to anyone who's ever studied the subject. No one in this woman's life apparently has the heart to tell her she's delusional. Instead, plenty of people are propping her up as a voice of reason. According to the Roy's report, her show Healing Your Soul airs on the Trinity Broadcasting Network and Faith Broadcasting Network, and she was recently featured on the cover of conspiracy-driven Charisma magazine. Headline: The Coming Alien Invasion. It was an imprint of Charisma that published her book. That's
Jesus Christ. Charisma magazine, The Coming Alien Invasion. I've heard a lot of Christian nutcases talking about alien invasion recently. That's weird, right? This is just Charisma magazine. Hold on. The Roy's report. Here we go. Televangelist claims aliens invaded her body and took her eggs. What the fuck, dude? We're going to come back to this in a second. That's before we even get into her background as a felon.
That's before we even get into her background as a felon who decided she needed a new grift. Her ministry started in 2006, a few years after she completed a prison sentence for the manufacture of methamphetamine and possession with intent to distribute.
Oh, shit. Look, I believe in second chances. If I didn't, I would be fucked myself. I was an addict myself, you know? I struggled with addiction for years. But I feel like when you see people doing this grift bullshit over and over and over again, you have to pick up on a pattern that's happening. This isn't just about her past. This is an indicator of who she is generally.
Katie Souza Ministries initially focused on prisoners, with Souza sharing a dramatic conversion testimony. Souza then shifted into faith healing and deliverance, speaking more and more frequently, as time went on, about spiritual warfare and generational curses.
Faith healing is one of those things that infuriates me more than just about anything else. It really fucking upsets me to know that there are people out there manipulating people and shearing the sheep, as they call it. Shearing the sheep.
Her life story has also grown darker as time has gone on. In 2025, for example, she told Christian podcaster Dan Duval that her grandmother was sexually assaulted by a Nazi officer during World War II. She
No way, dude.
said that she had to break a family curse connected to Adolf Hitler's attempt to harness the power of a satanic altar.
No fucking way. That is vile, dude. To lie about Nazi persecution like that is fucking disgusting. What is wrong with these people? And also, Hilter, yeah. Somebody misspelled Hitler, and the TTS system picked up on it. That's kind of funny.
She added that another family member was a sex trafficker with the Illuminati.
Okay, of course the Illuminati is not real. I don't know, who needed to hear that, but the Illuminati is a pretend fake evil organization that was invented not that long ago, surprisingly recently. And I think it was by somebody who was writing a bunch of prank letters to Playboy magazine or something like that. And they ended up I'm sorry, hang on. I just completely lost my train of thought. Where the fuck was I? Oh yeah. And it ended up spreading like wildfire. And now she's saying that somebody was a sex trafficker for the Illuminati. Please, these people need help. The saddest part is this isn't even the most disturbing, deranged thing that she said recently.
Group that some conspiracy theorists believe controls major world events. Sure you can. You can make up so many lies, weave together in a tangled web, that you yourself start to believe your own mythology and assume it's your reality. And if you know how to communicate, you can make good money trying to convince other people your delusions are also their reality. Souza apparently brings in over $2 million per year through her ministry by saying bullshit like this.
Oh, $2 million per year through her ministry. Holy shit, dude. That is so much fucking money. $2 million per year. God, how much money is that? Come to think of it. That's got to be $150,000 per month? Am I in the ballpark? Let's see. Hold on. Tax-free, of course. $166,000 per month. $166,000 per month. Tax-free is what she's bringing in through her quote-unquote ministry.
I was visited when I was a young girl.
Nope.
To paraphrase the Christian website Protestia, she's not a formal criminal. She's still a criminal. But instead of selling drugs, she's selling religious lies, which our society tolerates and, for no good reason, respects. The thing is, her story doesn't even make sense on her own terms. We're supposed to believe that aliens secretly implanted a device inside her, monitored her ovulation for decades, stole her eggs, created at least one hybrid child, and caused her infertility, but left not a single piece of physical evidence to confirm any of this. Simon, I want a DNA test on that.
Come on, I want a DNA test on that child, right? Yeah, where is this alleged child?
And every time someone asks a question, you know how Souza will respond. This is just too complicated for ordinary people to understand, much less people without faith. Either Souza knows she's lying, or she genuinely believes this happened.
There is no way in hell she really believes this, is there?
Neither option makes her look good. And remember, too, it just shows that the conservative Christian media ecosystem will always highlight someone's delusions if they think it will make for good content. That might be the bigger problem here. How so many Christian outlets are validating, promoting, and monetizing Souza's lies. None of them are fact-checking anything she says because facts aren't part of their vocabulary. If a Christian says it, it must be true. It's the logical result of a media system where there are no standards, which means the lies will only get bigger from here on out.
It's fucking disgusting. Genuinely fucking disgusting.
Please share this post on Reddit.
No, anyway. How long was this? This was 23 to 33. Yeah, let's listen to another one. Absolutely grotesque. So let's listen to this one, which is another article on the Roy's report on the subject, which is actually really on point, dude. The Roy's report has been awesome lately. Hold on. Let me just... I didn't kill the server, did I? No, I didn't. Okay, good. Let's listen to this. Give it a second. I feel like I'm too high up.
A charismatic televangelist.
All right, let's listen. I'm actually going to change this so I don't forget. I'm going to write it down so I don't forget. Let me just... give me a second so I don't forget about this. The stop button, actually a start button. Start playing the audio. I'll work on this in a bit.
Who created a career.
Hold on.
A charismatic televangelist who created a career out of her past as a career criminal and drug dealer now has a startling new revelation. Aliens harvested her eggs. Katie Souza, whose show Healing Your Soul airs on Trinity Broadcasting Network and Faith Broadcasting Network,
TBN,
told her YouTube channel Friday she was a child victim of an extraterrestrial conspiracy to create alien-human hybrids. I was visited when I was a young girl, and aliens, alien beings, implanted an interdimensional device in me that harvested my eggs over my lifetime, said Souza, 63. This device obviously was harvesting them right when they would mature so that they could then try to create a hybrid child.
What an absolutely fucking wild thing to say.
Souza, who founded a popular prison ministry in 2006 after her own release from prison, said thousands of other women have had this happen to them too, though many remain unaware. She said alien implantation as a cause of...
Wait, so this is a common thing? She's not the only person this happened to? Interesting.
...infertility, as well as other mysterious illnesses and unexplainable anger. Souza has a book coming out Tuesday, warning Christians of what she calls the alien agenda of genetic corruption. Star Gods is being published by Charisma Media, a Christian company with a successful track record of best-selling books about end-times prophecy, spiritual warfare, and demonic oppression. Star Gods, Katie Souza's new book on what she calls the alien agenda.
What the fuck? Star Gods. I am so getting this. It's on Amazon. I'll see if I can find it. I'll see if I can get a copy. Where was I? I think we were right here.
Charisma Media's flagship magazine featured Souza smiling on the cover of its July issue, with a headline announcing the coming alien invasion. An unsigned editorial in the issue included a note of caution. The magazine did not endorse any extraterrestrial conspiracy theories, but urged Christians to pay close attention to the news, especially as government officials discussed possible disclosures about unidentified anomalous phenomenon, or UAP. Scripture does not call us to accept every claim uncritically, nor does it encourage us to ignore developments taking place around us, the magazine said. The central question is not merely whether unusual phenomena exist, but how those phenomena should be interpreted. A spiritual interpretation. Souza offers a spiritual interpretation. She says extraterrestrials exist, but are not physical creatures that evolved in another solar system. Instead, they are fallen angels warring against God's plan of redemption.
Wait,
they are the reason, she said, that she has been unable to...
I'm sorry. Wait, so they're not physical alien beings? Interesting. Oh my God, dude.
And they are the reason, she said, that she has been unable to conceive children. Souza connects her story and contemporary stories about flying saucers to the sons of God, mentioned in Genesis 6. The Bible passage says they went to the daughters of humans and had children by them.
Oh my God, dude. She's going the whole Nephilim route.
Called the Nephilim. The passage is followed by God's condemnation of the wickedness of the human race, and a catastrophic flood survived by Noah and his family in an ark. A Jewish apocalyptic text, known as the Book of Enoch, adds that the flood was necessary to drown the hybrid Nephilim. Katie Souza hosts Healing Your Soul, which airs on Trinity Broadcasting Network and Faith Broadcasting Network.
Dude, I need to check this like show out or whatever. This is fucking wild.
Promoting his new book about his conversion to Catholicism, Vance told right-wing political commentator Benny...
I'm sorry, 1 second. Greek and Roman mythology also includes many stories about sex between deities and humans, Susan noted, often resulting in demigod offspring, such as Hercules and Helen of Troy. So this has been happening throughout time, she said. This is nothing new. So we shouldn't be shocked when I say something like, this is what's happened to me. Jesus Christ. The charismatic minister is not the only one making the argument that aliens are a mask for a stranger, more supernatural conspiracy theory. Vice President J.D. Vance recently proposed the same idea on a podcast in March.
Promoting his new book about his conversion to Catholicism, Vance told right-wing political commentator Benny Johnson that he came into office obsessed with learning the truth about UFOs. But he also said his faith led him to suspect that scientific and government observers have historically misidentified beings from other dimensions.
Honestly, I don't believe that we've been visited by aliens. I don't think there's any way that that's happened. I don't even think the government is covering things up, because I don't think it's the government's job. It's their thing to monitor. It's not. It's SETI. SETI is an independent nonprofit organization that gets government funding, if I'm not mistaken. The Search for Extraterrestrial Intelligence. And there is no way the government, any single government on planet Earth, could hide it from every other government and organization in the world like that. I don't see it. And truthfully, I'll tell you what would happen if aliens were to visit. It'd be one of two things. They would either show up on our doorstep and speak to us directly and be open about it, or they would send probes to inspect, to spy, to, try to figure things out. It costs astronomically more resources to send a being that requires life support than it costs to send a machine that can just record things. I don't think that aliens would show up unless they intended to speak to us directly. That's just my opinion. And maybe I'm not an exoanthropologist or whatever, or an exobiologist, and I have no place to talk. That's just how it seems to me. But, who knows? Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe aliens have visited us.
I don't think they're aliens. I think they're demons, Vance said. When I hear about sort of extra-natural phenomenon, that's where I go to, is the Christian understanding that, there's a lot of good out there, but there's also some evil out there. Vance returned to the idea last month in a conversation with podcaster Joe Rogan. If we were talking about an extraterrestrial being that is human-like but not human, that contains effectively infinite powers and is torturing human beings, you can call it an alien if you want, but I think there's a lot of historical precedent to call that a demon, the vice president said.
There's a lot of historical precedent to call it a demon. There's historical precedent for this? What historical precedent is there? What the fuck does that even mean?
Belief in aliens now mainstream. As Time magazine noted last week, America is finally taking extraterrestrials seriously. Nearly 80 years after U.S. military officials said they recovered a crashed flying disc outside Roswell, New Mexico, and then said it was just a weather balloon. Belief in aliens has become mainstream.
I don't think it was a weather balloon in Roswell, New Mexico. I think it was a machine being used to monitor nuclear activity from Russia. And it was important that they don't reveal what it was being used for, because they didn't want anybody to know what they were up to, or that they even had this capability or whatever. So they covered it up and lied about it and everything else. That's my read on it. I have no idea. Again, I'm just some fucking asshole sitting here evaluating the information in front of me. So take it for what you will. Take it for what you paid for it. Nothing. Or let me rephrase. It's worth what you paid for it. Nothing.
According to a recent poll, 69% of Americans think UAPs are extraterrestrial spacecraft, and 84% think the government has information about aliens it should release.
Well, I think that's obvious, right? The government absolutely does have information that they should release.
The nonprofit Disclosure Foundation, which advocates the release of information about UAPs, called it the most popular single issue in the country, cutting across demographics and deep partisan divides. President Donald Trump, noting that popular interest, directed all government agencies to review their files and release any information they had about alien life. The people can decide for themselves, the president wrote on social media. What the hell is going on?
What the hell is going on? Okay. Anyway. Yeah, tell me what you think about it in the comments. It's actually fascinating. I'm fascinated that this woman is truly convinced that she has an alien baby out there named Starburst, and that she's a televangelist on the Trinity Broadcasting Network. What the hell happened to us in the United States? All right, let me just write down the timestamps on that. Starburst. Just going to name it that. 23 to 51. Wow, that's long. 43. 28 minutes or so. Damn. All right, Jake Lang. I actually have enough videos already for the week, but I'm going to continue going because it's interesting. Why not? All right, so finished the harvested eggs video. Let's see, what's next? Wommack. Let me pull up Wommack. All right, good. Oop. Oh, my God. This is Andrew Wommack. He is a prophet of Trump, televangelist type of person, complete nutcase. Listen to what he had to say here.
I really think that America should outlaw Islam. Now,
This is McFarland. He's a co-pastor or whatever. Outlaw Islam. What happened to freedom of religion? These people really just give up on freedom of religion that quickly? Again, I don't like Islam. I think it's fucking stupid. I think it is equally, if not more stupid than Christianity. But people should have the right to practice their religion, right? How the fuck did we get here that I am defending a Muslim's right to practice their religion against a fucking Christian nationalist?
We cannot let these communities have Sharia law because, see,
there are no communities in the United States that have Sharia law. If you believe there are, get fucking help.
Islam is not just a religious system, it's a political system, it's a legal system, it's a cultural system.
This is a really common line of attack that right-wing extremists have been repeating for a while now. It's being repeated all over the place. This is Monty Fritz running for Tennessee governor. He's not going to win. He's just some lone nutcase who has absolutely no chance in hell of succeeding here. But this should illustrate where the right-wing mindset is anyway.
I often get a question from some of the cancel culture media, the ABCs, the NBCs, of would you, Monty, if you could, cancel Islam? And I immediately say yes. First, I don't think Islam is a religion. I think it's a political movement, a forced political movement.
Sound familiar? What about this one?
Watch. This lawsuit.
Hold on, let me find where this starts because it's a long one. Wait.
All right, so let me help all of you watching at home understand, because that almost sounds right, doesn't it? But here's the reality. Islam, the Muslims, the Islamic Society of Tulsa, they're going to pull out the religion side. Every time they're going to say the religion. Listen, this is a social diatribe, their whole government, their whole way of life. That's what this is. This isn't, it's masked as a religion, but this isn't, Pat, I'll go to you. This isn't what they love to say Islamophobia, Islamophobia, and hey, freedom of religion. No, you're not a religion.
That's the line. That's the line that right-wingers have been handed to repeat over and over and over again until they're blue in the fucking face. Ban Islam because Islam is not a religion. One more time, because I know I was cutting in and out of this video a lot. I'm going to let it play in its entirety, and then I'll break it down.
I really think that America should outlaw Islam. Now, we cannot let these communities have Sharia law, because see, Islam is not just a religious system, it's a political system, it's a legal system, it's a cultural system.
These people are coming up with any excuse they can to destroy democracy, to destroy freedom of religion, freedom of speech, freedom of worship, freedom of the press, whatever they can do to erase rights to favor themselves more, they'll do it. And it's fucking disgusting. This is E.W. Jackson on the right. I haven't seen him in a while, actually. He's got problems. We'll get into him in a minute. Listen to this. This is another clip from the same people.
Strategic on their part. It's not just people coming trying to leave some oppressive government. They are coming with a strategy.
Yep.
You know, Kamal Salim, I'm sure you know Kamal Salim. He's a friend of mine. Kamal Salim came over here to do, what did he call it? Some kind of jihad, cultural jihad.
Yeah.
Right.
And he and that Umar Abedin, who was Hillary Clinton's chief of staff, they both were sent here by the Muslim Brotherhood to do cultural jihad.
Cultural jihad. Attacking Islam is extremely politically popular and advantageous at the moment. At least in part because a lot of the time you can get secular people on your side to fight against Islam. I don't fucking like Islam. I don't want Islam horning their way into our lives. I don't want that. Who the fuck wants that? The problem is that that's not happening. And these people are looking for any political strategy that will draw people over to their side. In 2012 to 2016 era on YouTube, the atheist community on YouTube was very anti-Islam like this, including me. I don't like Islam. Islam bad. But the right used and manipulated that to move people from anti-Islam to anti-SJW, aka anti-woke, anti-CRT, and Richard Dawkins fed into it. Sam Harris fed into it heavily and contributed massively to the insane rise of right-wing extremism on YouTube and elsewhere. Social media generally. When I see people talking shit about Islam, first of all, I agree Islam bad. But second, it concerns the shit out of me because I know that this is just a political tool that's being used against gullible suckers. Why do you give a fuck about what Islam is up to when we literally have Christian nationalists in the country now trying to take over? I don't know about you. I care way more about the Christian nationalist extremists in our country right now trying to take over. I care way more about that than I do about Islam, which doesn't affect me in any way, shape, or form right now. This is a distraction from the fact that they're trying to destroy the government by injecting Christian nationalism into it. That's what's happening. one more clip for you so that you have an idea of where this is coming from and why it's being discussed in the first place. This is Micah Beckwith. I believe he's the lieutenant governor of Indiana, I think.
I didn't say this whole thing on Islam for political reasons, but I will tell you right now, this is a political winner. I mean, if you're a conservative and you want to, rally the base and the majority of people to support you in politics, if this was for political expediency, take a stand against Islam. I mean, that right now, I mean, this is just a winning issue for America, because it's not because Americans hate Muslims. It's because we recognize the wicked ideology, and a lot of people just don't know how to address it. So when they see somebody standing up saying, "Hey, I'm going to call it out. I'm going to run at this thing head on," it resonates with people. So I've been very encouraged. People have been texting me a lot over the last few days, but oh my gosh, we've been seeing all the negative, media, and we're so sorry, and we hope you're doing okay. And I'm like, I'm doing great. I love it. I think this is fantastic. I mean,
so it's all a political expediency thing. It's all about how he can benefit the most from political garbage, from attacking people for political reasons. These people are soulless. They are soulless and fucking evil. They are literally trying to ruin people's lives by attacking them, knowing that there's no basis to the attack. They're just doing it to get more votes. That's what's happening. Fucking disgusting. To get more votes, to get more attention, to get more support. They're attacking a minority group solely to get more attention. Anyway, tell me what you think about it in the comments. These people are straight up evil. I mean, the Republicans, fucking evil. These televangelists, disgusting. All right, let's see. 51 to 103. Wommack is done. Let's hit Satanic Temple next. And there's another... Hold on. Here we go. Here it is. Here it is. Okay, got it. Yes, good. Is there a video to download here? No. Okay. I'm actually going to use the bathroom real fast. Take me 30 seconds. Give me just a second. I'm going to let something play real fast, and I'll be right back, okay? Not this, because we're going to watch this. Something else. Yeah. Okay, I'll let this play. I'll be back in 1 second.
With the damage they've done over a 50-year period, whether you go SS Cole or whether you go all of the people that were so badly hurt, so badly wounded or killed, many thousands of people, and maybe damages for the 52,000 protesters over the last 4 months that were killed in Iran. We think their family should get damages for killing their person or their child or mother, father that were protesting. It's at least, it was 52,000 a month and a half ago. So now what is it? So if there's damages to be paid, I think Iran should pay those damages.
I like it.
Yes. All right, Rick, I'll give you first shot at that.
No, I mean, that's the master negotiator right there. Take their point and turn it on them, and he's spot on. I think Brendan said it right. I mean, he's got to think outside the box, do something that other presidents didn't even attempt to do. I mean, this would not be new, right? Go back to Jefferson. Jefferson was faced with, very similar situation, dealing with the Barbary Power states. They're ransoming our sailors back to us over and over and over again, capturing our sailors. They under Washington, we're spending about 10% of the budget paying those ransoms. Washington wanted to do something and couldn't because we didn't have a Navy. Adams starts to build up a Navy. Still, now by the time he's done, it's about 19% of our budget. And Jefferson says, no, we're going to go in. We're going to pay whatever price necessary to put an end to this nightmare. And that's what we did. We got a 150-year peace dividend by the time that Barbary Powers Wars was finally over. It took about 32 years of dealing with them before that happened. I think Trump has a chance to do something like what Jefferson did. I think he has a chance to get us a lasting peace dividend if he's able to finish the job. And so it's going to take positions like this, where every time they say something stupid, he just counters and says, okay, great. Well, you're going to pay for everything you did for the last 50 years, which actually makes sense to me. But
Sure
again,
does.
I'm all for making sure we do whatever it takes to completely get rid of this regime.
Boy, I agree with that. All right, Lance, your thoughts before I move on.
Fanatics need money, Gene, to feed their fanaticism. And what Trump is doing is he's cutting off the oxygen. When he talks about inflation, and yeah, they could care less about the suffering of humanity in Iran. They'll terrorize them. However, the Revolutionary Guard has to get paid. When your drug cartel members aren't making money, you worry about what the cartel's going to do. And what Trump is doing is he's increasing the pressure on the internal fault lines because the financial mechanism is breaking down that is funding their own revolution. So he knows that he can outlast them simply because all he's got to do is keep the pressure on. They get weaker and weaker. All that he's got to do is keep an eye on the congressional and the Senate seats for midterms.
I just need one more second. I'm just doing something here real fast. Then we'll continue.
Gene, can I add one thing to that?
No, nope, sorry, time's passed. Go ahead.
No, I think what Lance just said applies to the rest of the chessboard, right? Because it also it's why Gaza is where it is. It's why Israel has been able to disarm as much as they have. It's why Hezbollah is in such a weak position. So Trump's cutting them off on all fronts on all of the places that have been funded. So this, for people that are thinking, wow, we're in the 5th month or 4th month, whatever this is, 6th month of this thing. I thought Trump said it'd be over in just a few weeks. There has been so much good done and so much weakening of terror around the world as a result of this. It's huge. And so I think what Lance just said is absolutely true, and it applies to the entire chessboard that Trump has been playing on this thing.
Dude, I get so sick of hearing that Trump is a 5D chess player. It's so insufferable. Oh my God. Anyway, let's see how... Yeah, okay, it finished rendering. Perfect. Almost the whole article. Not quite. About right at the end there. I just needed to do something real fast. Because I'm working on something here. Almost done. Oop. Give me a second here. All right, good. Got it. Hold on one second. Okay, cool. Let's hit this. All right, sorry. You guys remember when the Satanists tried to put a statue in the State House? I believe the Iowa State House. Because Christians got a statue and that's freedom of religion. Everybody's treated equally, right? And the entire world just melted down over it. Republicans lost their minds. They said that Satanists are trying to indoctrinate our children, the whole 9 yards. You guys remember that? Here's a reminder. This is the story from all the way back then. By the way, I'm sorry. Let me hit the super chats. If he's not dead, he'll 100% relinquish power. Outlawing beliefs, but don't tread on me, right? Yeah, exactly. The principles only exist as long as they're beneficial. Thus, they're not principles. You don't have principles if they're applied unevenly. Anyway, just fucking stupid.
A Satanic Temple has set up a display inside the Iowa State House.
A Satanic Temple, not the Satanic Temple, but a Satanic Temple set it up. And are you hearing the creepy music?
It's the holiday season, and even secular government buildings display decorations for holidays that are rooted in religion, like Christmas trees and menorahs. For 14 days, the Satanic Temple has erected a display alongside these major religious symbols.
Hey, great. That's their right, isn't it? You're putting up Jewish symbols. Christians are putting up Christian symbols. Satanists can put up Satanist symbols, can't they? Seems like if you don't want that stuff up in the State House, you can just keep it secular, non-religious. You can just not put up anybody's symbols, right? If this bothers you that much, that's how it's supposed to work.
Inside the rotunda of the Iowa State Capitol, Lucian Greaves, co-founder of the Satanic Temple, spoke to KCCI.
We're going to really relish the opportunity to be represented in a public forum. We don't have a church on every street corner.
Though the temple went through the correct administrative channels to present in the rotunda, the display is getting pushback.
One, I hope people realize spiritual warfare is real, that there are...
Oh my God, dude. Shelley Flockhart, concerned about Satanic Temple display. These people are so cringy and insufferable, dude. Please leave, mind your own fucking business. Can you manage that? Mind your own business. If you don't like the display, then walk away. Or, alternatively, don't fucking put Christian shit all over the place, and this won't be an issue in the first place.
One, I hope people realize spiritual warfare is real, that there are evil, satanic forces that are trying to infiltrate our state.
Iowa resident Shelley Flockhart said she was shocked to see the altar at the Capitol, so she organized a group to pray near the rotunda's Christmas tree. Greaves says
that's gonna fix it.
No one is being forced to interact with the Satanic Temple's.
There you go. No one's being forced to interact with it, so leave it the fuck alone. See how that works? People can mind their own fucking business. And if you're gonna push your stupid Christian shit in my face, I'm gonna push Satanist shit in yours. They just have no fucking clue how logic works, do they? They have no idea what your right to swing your fist ends at the tip of my nose even means, do they? Are they even, familiar with the term, the phrase?
Display.
My feeling is that if people don't like our displays in public forums, they don't have to engage with them. They don't have to view them.
It's a very dark, evil force.
It's fake, lady, okay? It's fake. It's just a fucking statue. Who gives a fuck? My God, these people are sensitive.
And I truly hope people know how to battle that.
The U.S. Department of Justice says religious liberty is enshrined in the text of our Constitution. It's in the First Amendment, where the writers of the Constitution protected the practice of all faiths by stating, Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof. The Satanic Temple is a federally recognized religion that does not actually believe in the existence of Satan or the supernatural. Unlike another religious organization, the Church of Satan.
Neither of them believe in a literal Satan. The Church of Satan and the Satanic Temple are both atheistic organizations, but I don't see what that has to do with anything. They're registered religious groups, and they have protections under those umbrellas.
Massachusetts-based tax-exempt temple says its mission is to encourage benevolence and empathy, reject tyrannical authority, advocate practical common sense, oppose injustice, and undertake noble pursuits. For Inside Edition Digital, I'm TC Newman.
Inside Edition is fucking worthless. I know they have a lot of legitimacy, but especially during the Satanic Panic, they were bad. They literally hired a fake actor, like a 12-year-old actor, to pretend to have been taken advantage of by Satanists. And they put this young actress on other episodes of Inside Edition, pretending to be other people as well. It's disgusting how willing these people are to lie, genuinely. Anyway, let's listen to this article from Hemant Mehta.
The ACLU of Iowa is suing state officials for blocking the Satanic Temple from putting up a holiday display inside the state capitol. A blatant case of religious discrimination that Republicans refuse to acknowledge. This is the culmination of discrimination that's been happening for years now, and it began in 2023.
By the way, a dude showed up at the Capitol or whatever it was, the Capitol building, wherever this was put up, and took an axe and beheaded this statue. Now, who gives a fuck, right? It's just a stupid statue. And the point was that Satanists have the right to do what Christians want to do as well. And if the state is going to give special favors to Christians, they have to give it to Satanists, to everybody. The ultimate goal is to prevent anybody from getting special favors and for everybody to be treated fairly and equally. So no religious group gets special treatment from the state. That's the goal. These people don't even want to be in, like, put up this statue or whatever. Like, they give a fuck. They're atheists. They don't care about this stupid statue or any of this shit. The point is, everyone should be treated fairly, right? And that just flew right over their heads when a dude came in with an axe to behead it.
You may recall that in December of that year, a satanic display went up in the Capitol alongside a nativity scene. Gov. Kim Reynolds called the innocuous display absolutely objectionable. The Satanic Temple's display in the Iowa Capitol, screenshot via YouTube. A Christian zealot, Michael Cassidy, soon vandalized the display and was later charged with a hate crime. He eventually pleaded guilty to a lesser crime to avoid felony charges. Despite all that, only the Satanists have ever been punished over the whole debacle, with one GOP lawmaker even filing a bill to ban satanic displays on public property.
It's literally a religion. How the fuck do you even do that? You ban a religion from posting stuff. What? I'm sorry. You ban a religion from putting stuff from displaying stuff. What? Hold on. Dude, all the fucking pop-ups are driving me nuts. Mississippi man charged with destroying Iowa Capitol Satanic Temple display pleads guilty. This is May 24th, 2024. He was set to stand trial June 3rd after the court denied his motion to dismiss the case, but on Friday morning his attorney filed a plea of guilty on his behalf. According to the filing, Cassidy admits to third-degree criminal mischief, but as an aggravated misdemeanor without the hate crime enhancement. He admits in writing that he partially dismantled the display in the Iowa State Capitol building without a right or license to do so, and that the damage caused was greater than $750. The agreement calls for Cassidy to receive a deferred judgment with 2 years probation and an $855 civil penalty, and to pay restitution in an amount to be determined. Interesting. Okay. I was hoping to find out how much he had to pay. So 2 years probation. Damn, dude. That's a lot. That's a lot of time. That's a long time on paper. 2 years probation. All right, let's continue.
That bill, thankfully, didn't go anywhere. But administration officials have been trying to find their own ways to prevent satanic displays from appearing in the Capitol. If that bill didn't go anywhere, then how come the Satanists were blocked from putting up a holiday display in 2024? See, the Satanic Temple of Iowa planned to hold a marathon 4-day reading of John Milton's 1667 epic poem, Paradise Lost, inside the Capitol. And as soon as they filed the paperwork, the Iowa Department of Administrative Services announced that it was changing its rules for who could use the Capitol space.
You know what? If they changed it to be more fair, I'm fine with that. The goal is to make it so nobody has special treatment, right? Not Christians, not Muslims, not atheists, not Satanists. Nobody can put up their stupid bullshit religious displays in the state capitol. That would be my goal. Is that what they did?
From now on, events couldn't last longer than one day, and no group could hold more than one event per calendar year. That one-day limit, the officials told the Satanists, would also apply to holiday displays in the future. Furthermore, that meant if the Satanists held a one-day reading of Paradise Lost in the Capitol, they would be prohibited from erecting a display in December.
Interesting. So they're trying to do targeted limitations. They're targeting who is allowed to do what and under what circumstances, is what it sounds like to me.
In fact, a different group, the Iowa Atheists and Freethinkers, hoped to put a holiday display in the Capitol in 2024, but their application was rejected because they held a Reason on the Hill lobbying event in the building that January. In other words, they inadvertently used up their allotted yearly slot based on rules that went into effect several months later. The same agreement included another section that prohibited any Capitol displays that might be seen as obscene.
Oh, yeah, and who decides what's obscene? Well, the Christians do, of course. It's obscene if it's non-Christian, I bet, right?
Were those rules changed directly because of the Satanists' request? And who got to decide which displays were obscene, offensive, or worthy of value? No one knew. In any case, the Satanists held their reading event at a different location to avoid being shut out during the holidays. But when December came around in 2024, they were shut out anyway. They planned to hold a one-day holiday celebration at the Capitol and filled out the necessary paperwork, only to have the event canceled at the last second because a state official declared their presence would be harmful to minors.
Of course, harmful to minors. Makes complete sense.
Former director of the Iowa Department of Administrative Services and current gubernatorial candidate Adam Steen, screenshot via YouTube. After careful consideration of administrative rule and Iowa Department of Administrative Services DAS policy, I determined the totality of the event request to include elements that are harmful to minors and therefore denied the request. DAS Director Adam Steen, the director of the Iowa DAS, said in a statement provided to the Des Moines Register.
So, the totality of the event request was obscene to children. In what way? Harmful to minors. In what way? He didn't specify what the objectionable elements were or how they could be harmful to minors. This is just corruption. This is, I like my religion, and I'm going to keep my religious values and expectations, and I'm going to give my religion favor. And yours doesn't get those favors. That's what this is. That's what's happening here. Fucking disgusting. Whoop.
Steen didn't specify what the objectionable elements were or how they could be harmful to minors. At one point, Steen did explain the concern. There were going to be costumes with sticks used as weapons on children, as if Satanists were going to harm children by beating them with sticks. Not only was that never part of the plan, it's deeply ironic because that's quite literally what white evangelicals like James Dobson urge parents to do to their children.
That is ironic. Is irony the right word here? Is this ironic? Fucking disgusting how willing these people are to lie and twist things around and give special favors to their own side. Seriously, do they not have a moral compass at all?
Gov. Kim Reynolds later echoed those lies about how the event would harm children. The Iowa State Capitol complex is a place that is open to the public, where children and families routinely visit, the governor said. Because of this, the state's event policy takes into consideration conduct that would be harmful to minors. This satanic event, which specifically targets children, is harmful to minors, and so it was denied.
As Heman Mehta says, again, there was no explanation of how the holiday celebration would be harmful. Because it wasn't going to be harmful, obviously. This is pure, unadulterated corruption. Plain and simple corruption.
Again, there was no explanation of how the holiday celebration would be harmful. The Satanic Temple, Iowa, threatened to file a lawsuit in 2025 over this bigotry, but they never actually did it. Over the summer, however, the ACLU of Iowa filed a civil rights complaint on behalf of the Satanists with the Iowa Civil Rights Commission. The complaint alleges, in denying the application, the state wrongly alleged the celebration would have included sex acts, gore, and similar content, and was not suitable for minors.
Really? The state wrongly alleged the celebration would have included sex acts, gore, and similar content. I mean, we saw their last display, right? It was literally just like a little statue. That's it. A goat statue. Nothing more. This is corruption, right? This is just plain and simple, outright corruption? Just lying?
The looming question, then, was whether 2025 would be any different. Would the state still fight the Satanists, or would they see the furor dying down and just let it slide? That year, the Iowa Department of Administrative Services once again blocked the Satanists from putting up a holiday display in the Capitol, or having any kind of celebration inside, claiming that it would be harmful to minors.
Fucking disgusting.
Again, no evidence of this was offered. In fact, Adam Steen, who was running to become governor, but lost in the GOP primary, held a press conference last November as part of his apparent victory against Satan tour. This is a tipping point. One of the most divisive issues in the state over the last couple of years, and the attempts of the so-called Satanic Church, has been denied yet again. No more marketing to children. No more trying to get them to create satanic symbols, sing satanic hymns, partake in satanic rituals.
Okay. Jeez. First of all, Satanists don't believe in any of this shit either. Again, they're atheists. Okay, the Satanic Temple and the Church of Satan are both atheist groups. Second, don't fucking tell me what to do with my children. I could say the same thing to you. I don't want your stupid fucking hymns being taught to children in public. How do you feel about that? You don't want your hymns, or you don't want my hymns being sung out or whatever? Then I don't want your stupid fucking hymns sung out in the state capitol. They don't understand, seemingly, the contradiction, the complete lack of principle. They don't get it. It's just lost on them. It is fucking baffling to me that these people are so completely lost. They don't get it.
No more having youth involved in costume contests that depict weapons used to abuse youth.
I don't know what the fuck he's even talking about. That didn't happen. Nobody was doing that.
This is not religious expression. It's not free speech. It is evil. We did it. We stood up. We got the denial that we wanted. And I'm proud to say that good, again, has defeated evil. Denying this event will protect our children. Our children deserve that. Thank you.
Our children deserve for good to stand up against evil, i.e., our children deserve for us to persecute minority groups. Totally. Yeah, our children definitely deserve for us to persecute minority groups. These people are fucking disgusting.
Bless you. God bless the great state of Iowa.
God bless you and the great state of Iowa.
Elsewhere in that video, he said he was the only candidate being sued by the Satanists. That was a lie. The Satanic Temple hadn't sued him, and if any reporter cared to press him on that, they would know he's lying.
I don't understand how these people so brazenly, openly, flagrantly lie to your fucking face and face no consequences for it. What kind of an evil human being does shit like that, genuinely?
After his bloviating was over, Steen was asked what was so offensive about the proposed satanic display. He evaded the question and said any content that goes towards the soul of children and that fights against the good that are inside of children is evil and needs to be fleshed out.
I don't know what the fuck he's talking about. Like, what child does he think, or what practice does he think is hurting children exactly?
Anything that rips away hope from children, anything that raises up this satanic name, is evil for children, and I will always fight for children to keep that out of their way. He was also asked what, if any, other religious beliefs might be harmful to children. His response? Anything that is not God first. Seemed like a blatant case of religious discrimination.
100%. That is religious discrimination, right? That's why the rules exist. That's what they are there for.
He was just defining religious symbols he didn't like as inherently evil without explaining how they were harmful. Even though, if kids followed the 7 fundamental tenets of the Satanic Temple, they would be far more ethical than children raised in conservative Christianity. It seems like, after years of Iowa officials creating piles of evidence of religious discrimination, the Satanic Temple of Iowa is finally fighting back with force. The federal lawsuit goes after Steen in his individual capacity. Mark Campbell, who took over Steen's job as director of the Iowa Department of Administrative Services, and the Iowa Department of Administrative Services. The plaintiffs include the Satanic Temple and Mortimer Addermalik, who runs TST's Iowa affiliate.
Metal fucking name, dude. Mortimer Addermalik. Mortimer Addermalik. I love that shit.
In addition to laying out much of what I've written here, the lawsuit notes that this past March, the Satanists submitted paperwork to put up a display this December, and they have yet to receive a response. That's over 160 days ago. The reason for the delay is glaringly obvious. Defendants have discriminated against TIOA by denying them services and public accommodations, both, one on the basis of their religion and or their perception of their religion, and, two, in retaliation for their prior reports of discrimination. There is a pattern in practice of defendants delaying, denying, or failing to respond to applications by the plaintiffs. There is no reason to expect this pattern to change, or expect the defendants will actually allow TS Iowa to hold their 2026 holiday event at the Rotunda, absent intervention by this court.
This is, maybe not something that is easily identifiable as Christian nationalism, but it absolutely is. This whole stunt by the Satanic Temple was intended from the start to make sure that Christianity is not getting special favors in government. And they obviously absolutely are. So what's the government doing to continue to give those special favors up? Instead of just turning off the tap and saying nobody gets special favors now, they are continuing to give special favors to one religion over the other and trying to persecute the other. They don't like when other religions shove shit down their throats. And instead of not doing it to other people, they are insisting on continuing to do it themselves and persecute the other group. What the fuck is wrong with these people? Really?
The lawsuit says the state has violated the Satanists' federal constitutional rights to free speech, free exercise of religion, and equal protection under the First and 14th Amendments. They also want the courts to end these violations and allow the Satanic Temple to put up a display this December in the Capitol, along with forcing the state to pay whatever amount the court deems fit in damages. It is a foundational principle that the government should not favor one religious belief over another, or discriminate against its citizens based on their religious beliefs, said Rita Bettis Austin, legal director of the ACLU of Iowa. So that means when the state makes the public space in the Capitol Rotunda available for these religious holiday events, for example a Christmas event or a Hanukkah event, it cannot then deny that same right to other religious groups that it disfavors. All I can say is, it's about damn time. This whole controversy revealed how little conservatives care about religious freedom.
So, I'm sorry, I'm just reading through this again. So they're suing, the ACLU is suing the state to try to make the point that you cannot favor one religion over another the way that they have. You have to turn off the tap for everybody or leave it on for everybody. No one gets special favors. And the ACLU said, when the state makes the public space in the Capitol Rotunda available for these religious holiday events, for example, a Christmas event or a Hanukkah event, it cannot then deny the same right to other religious groups that it disfavors. Absolutely agreed.
They think it only applies to Christians like them. The moment a minority faith seeks the same access to public space that Christians have always enjoyed, the whole structure collapses. Iowa officials used children's safety as an excuse to censor a non-Christian group. That's why this lawsuit matters. The Satanists' presence forces government officials to confront the actual meaning of religious freedom, not the imaginary version crafted by Christian nationalists.
Yeah, a lot of Christian nationalists will claim incorrectly the founding fathers meant, when they said freedom of religion, they meant Christianity, freedom of Christian denominations. One Christian denomination doesn't get special treatment over another Christian denomination. Lutherans and Catholics have an equal right to put up Christmas trees in the rotunda and to pray with people or whatever. But other religious groups do not have any rights because they are not protected under freedom of religion. That's simply wrong in every way, shape, or form. That's wrong. That is not how any of this was written, how it was intended, how it has been practiced for the past 250 years. That's literally completely fucking made up. All of it. Sometimes, if they don't go that route, then they'll go the other route, which is to say, this has always been a Christian nation, and the Constitution says you can't establish one religion as the state religion, but I'm not establishing a state religion when I put a Christmas tree in the rotunda or have a prayer service held for all the children as they come visit or have teachers pray in schools or whatever. That has nothing to do with, no state religion or whatever. It's the same tune with these people. They're so fucking vapid and empty. All of their arguments are complete nonsense and vapid.
They're exposing the obvious double standards, how the rules only get changed when Christians feel inconvenienced, how displays are only obscene when they're not promoting Jesus, and how harm to children only counts when imaginary demons are involved, not when an actual Christian vandal destroys a lawful display in broad daylight. If Iowa's conservative leaders thought they could get away with banning a peaceful, lawful minority faith display from a public building, they're about to find out the law's not on their side, and their own statements are going to be some of the key pieces of evidence against them. Please share this post on
Anyway, these people are fucking disgusting. I don't understand why they think it's okay to persecute people, or even a good idea to persecute people instead of just treating everybody fairly. That was an option that was on the table. Why the fuck did they jump to persecution? Absolutely fucking wild. Anyway, tell me what you think about it in the comments. These people are fucking disgusting. Really. All right, let's see. That one ended at 1:39. Just a second. Iowa Satanists. So that's 4, 3. Sorry, if you just give me 1 second here. How many videos do I have scheduled so far? Let's see. To the 20th. Huh. Today's the 16th, so... Actually, I think I'm okay on videos. Let me just check what my list has here. I'm thinking maybe we'll read the book, actually. Let's see here. Satanic Temple is done. Harvesting Eggs is done. Satanic Statues done. Jake Lang is done. All right. Well, see, this is 17 minutes long. Do I want to read the book right now? I'm trying to decide. How many chapters are left in this book anyway? Only 14 chapters total? So we're on chapter 11. You guys think I should read the book right now? Just looking through the chat. I'm seriously considering reading the book. We could also start on another book. People are saying yes. Gene's book is so much scarier than I imagined it could be. Wow, people are really into the book. I didn't realize. Yeah, I don't count. Okay. Damn, okay. I didn't expect people to be as into the book as they are. That's cool. I'm glad. All right, let's read the book then. Let me pull up hold on, let's see here. Let me just pull up a video of him so that I can do a proper intro. All right, here we go. Dude on the left here is Gene Bailey. He's a prophet of Trump, complete right-wing nutcase. He wrote this book titled Killing America. And it's about how the woke left is trying to kill America. And we need to do it first. Or some other nonsense. Anyway, I've been reading this book. This is not the first chapter. If you didn't see the others, don't sweat it. This stands independently of the rest. I'll give context if it's missing. This is chapter 11, and basically, I think the bottom line to this chapter is we have a religious mandate to control the United States as Christian nationalists. That's what he's trying to communicate. Called to occupy. Let's give it a listen.
Chapter 11, Called to Occupy. We previously read that Frederick Douglass said, "If there is no struggle, there is no progress." That's true. However, he also said, "I prayed for freedom for 20 years, but received no answer until I prayed with my legs."
Okay, so I think he's saying, Frederick, is he saying that Christians today are like the black community under slavery? They're being treated the way that slaves were treated. And Frederick Douglass taught Christians, modern day Christians, a lesson that was hard earned, which is you have to actually take action and do things. Like, you can't rely on God to take care of you. You have to take care of yourself. I think that's what he's saying.
Frederick Douglass prayed and stood against slavery for years. He did everything he could do, spiritually and verbally, to end slavery and be free.
Let me guess. You're going to say he was a Republican, right? Or something?
But there came a point when his struggle for progress meant taking a calculated risk of action. By faith, he had to step outside of his comfort zone and make a run for it. trusting God as he went. There are two ways the Lord moves the seemingly insurmountable mountains in our lives. He may supernaturally remove the mountain. We've seen that happen. We know that our God is the God of miracles. More often than not, though, God hands us a shovel and says, "Trust me with each shovelful for empowerment as you dig through to the other side."
Okay, that was an incredibly confusing statement. What the fuck is he talking about? So God gives you a shovel and says, "Trust me," i.e., God, you have to take action. You have to do things. You can't rely on God, is what I'm picking up. Is that what he's putting down?
Or he drops us a rope and says, "Hold on and start climbing. I'll strengthen you and protect you from the arrows flying towards you as you're advancing to the peak." Being empowered to tunnel through or to scale the rocky cliff is just as supernatural as God removing the mountain. Jesse Duplantis said to us,
Oh my God, not Jesse Duplantis. That fucking dude, the airplane dude, the guy who famously had the conversation with Kenneth Copeland about how people on airplanes, on public airplanes or commercial airplanes, are just a bunch of demons. It's like getting in a tube full of demons. That was Jesse Duplantis talking to Kenneth Copeland and claiming that God required them to have an airplane. It was a moral, ethical, religious requirement. They have Jesse Duplantis on Flashpoint all the time, and he's a complete piece of shit. Just a vapid, empty piece of shit.
"All that you cannot do, God will do."
All that you cannot do, God will do, is what Jesse Duplantis says. Wow, that's deep, huh? Gee, never thought of it that way.
All that you can do, God will never do. Faith can be standing firm and not moving. Faith can also be securing our laces and running with all our might. Just like it is wise to understand when walls need to be built and when walls need to be torn down, it takes wisdom to know when God wants us to stand firm and when God wants us to get moving. Drawing that line in the sand, standing your ground, and refusing to move is a form of action.
Refusing to move is a form of action. Okay.
Other times, we are called to cross over the enemy's lines and sprint forward in faith, trusting God to direct our steps.
It really bothers me how he frames everything in this book as a religious war. Like you're literally fighting a war, literal war, on behalf of God. And if you don't do what he says, you will pay the ultimate price and go to hell. That shit is really, really disturbing to me.
When we run, however, we can't run timidly. It's either move fast with power, strength, and stamina, or get killed. A motivational quote that has circulated for several years with no known original author says, "Every day in Africa, a gazelle wakes up. It knows it must run faster than the fastest lion, or it will be killed. Every morning a lion wakes up. It knows that it must outrun the slowest gazelle, or it will starve to death. It doesn't matter whether you are a lion or a gazelle. When the sun comes up, you better be running." I'm quite sure when Frederick Douglass was escaping slavery, trudging through woods and farmland and crossing rivers, he may have glanced back over his shoulder occasionally, but he was running fast and focused, using all his God-given faculties and discernment to keep from being captured. With an undivided heart, he was running sold out. Slavery was wrong, and he was never turning back. Never. He would die first. After David delivered lunch that day and then killed Goliath, the pursuit really began.
See, this is one of the things that disturbs me the most. Everything in this book is framed like it's a life and death situation, and that you are David and that the left is Goliath. And you have to do what you have to do to accomplish your goals. I'm not extrapolating or inferring or whatever. That's what he's saying here. That's what he's saying. And I have this old clip from forever ago what was it? Yeah, here you go. This is Gene Bailey laying the case out pretty clearly.
And ladies and gentlemen, if you didn't know it, you're in the middle of a war. And what we're dealing with on a daily basis are acts of war. But let me say right here, I'm not talking about going and getting your AR and go down and take care of business.
Could have fucking fooled me. That's exactly what it sounds like he's saying.
It's not what I'm talking about. However,
there should be no however after that sentence. Okay, you end that sentence with a period. The dude, that's exactly what he's saying. He's saying it in a way that gives him plausible deniability. And that's fucking disturbing.
We are in a war nonetheless. But let me bring it home really easily to you right now. You see, there's a Goliath in your life. And if there's a David on the inside of you, you're not looking at how big Goliath is or how many people he destroyed. What you're seeing is what David said. What do I get if I kill him?
That's fucking disturbing. You're looking at somebody on the left and thinking, what do I get if I kill him? This is domestic terrorism, right? I don't know if there's a clearer case than this.
Now tell me again what I get if I take this guy out.
What the fuck?
That's bold Mike Lindell type of confidence. I'm looking for some warriors. The army may be looking for a few good men, but I'm looking for a few warriors in the room.
Anyway, that's kind of the point of this whole chapter. He's saying you should be like David looking at Goliath. What do I get if I take this guy out? And they call Antifa terrorists? Are you fucking kidding me? Is there a clearer cut case of domestic terrorism than this, genuinely?
As he was running from Saul for years, hiding in caves and pursuing his divine calling to one day be king, he cried out to God, "Give me an undivided heart." Psalm 86:11 NIV.
Psalm 86:11. Yeah, TTS isn't perfect. It's pretty fucking good, though, in one man's humble opinion.
This should be our cry, too. David prayed those specific words because he understood that it is impossible to walk in God's favor and do what he was meant to do with a divided heart.
So not only do you have to look at your enemies, aka the woke left, and think to yourself, what do I get if I take this guy out? You also can't have a divided heart about this. You have to go in all the way and treat the left, people on the left, people to the left of hunting immigrants for sport, treat them the way that David treated Goliath. That shit is so fucking disturbing, dude. What is wrong with these people?
Is your heart divided? Saving America is a divine calling, but we can't if our hearts are divided. Divided in our own personal walk with God, and divided as fellow soldiers in this battle. In his last public speech in 1799, Patrick Henry declared with great passion, "Let us trust God and our better judgment to set us right hereafter. United we stand, divided we fall." This is yet another reminder that our founding fathers were faith-based to the core.
They absolutely were not. They grabbed a Patrick Henry quote because Patrick Henry has some quotes in his, I don't know, repertoire or whatever that definitely point toward kind of very, like, heavily religious attitudes. But the founding fathers intentionally, specifically set up a secular government in the United States, and it was the biggest, or the first case in world history of a secular government of this size ever being set up like this. Let me just look this up. Trust God and our better judgment. Give me a second. Just looking here. Hang on. Okay, so this quote, I think scholars generally consider to be probably accurate, but we don't actually know that it's accurate because the transcript of this specific speech does not exist. What they're pulling from here is an eyewitness account from 92 years after the speech happened. Somebody said, yeah, I was there for that speech at like 92 years old or something. They said, yeah, I was there for that speech, and he said blah, 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 some shit about Jesus. But that's all we have to prove that this was said at this speech. Either way, it doesn't really matter because Patrick Henry did have some religious beliefs to him, okay? That doesn't mean we are a Christian nation built on Christian principles. We weren't. We were built on secular principles, specifically. And also, the actual subject of that Patrick Henry speech, it was about Patrick Henry denouncing the Kentucky and Virginia resolutions, Jefferson and Madison's nullification doctrine. He was arguing that states must submit to federal authority. In the same speech, he said that if people feel intolerably oppressed, the answer is to overturn the government, but implored his audience to not carry matters that far without provocation, warning that they could never exchange the present government for anything but a monarchy, and that if the administration had done wrong, all should go wrong together. Okay, interesting. The point is that, like, Gene Bailey is portraying this as, like, some signal of unification around, like, Christian principles. That was not a unification speech. Nor was it a Christian speech, nor can we even validate that that was even in the speech in the first place. Everything that this dude says is complete nonsense.
Saw the formation of this country as a divine calling, that its long-term success would take a people trusting God and being undivided. That calling has never changed. What does all this have to do with occupying and the killing of America?
Right?
A lot. Jesus said, "Occupy till I come." Luke 19:13 KJV. This was not a suggestion. It was an instruction to all believers.
No, it wasn't. Okay. I actually know a good bit about this one. This was the parable where Jesus was telling a story. Hang on. He was telling a story where a king was leaving town and he decided to leave gold or something. I think it was gold. With 3 of his trusted advisors. One of them feared that he would have his head cut off if he lost it, so he buried it in the ground, and on the king's return, he gave it back to him exactly as it was before. and he got his head cut off because he was worthless. Number 2, invested it in the market and bought goods and tried to increase its value. And he was rewarded with a bunch of kingdoms or something like that. And at the end of the parable, Jesus said, the king told them to trade until I return. Trade until I come back. And Gene Bailey picked out this one specific translation that translates to trade that money until I return as occupy until I return. And he twists occupy until I return into, as a Christian, Jesus instructed people to control the governments of the world until Jesus returns. Well, Jesus didn't even believe himself to be the Son of Man. Didn't believe he's going to be returning because he didn't think he was going to fucking die in the first place. So literally no part of this makes any sense at all. Here's a more accurate telling of this story. A nobleman travels to a far country to receive a kingdom for himself. Before leaving, he gives 10 servants 1 mina each and says, occupy until I come, depending on how you translate it. King James Version is the only one that translated it. I'm sorry. King James Version is the only one that translates it as occupy till I come. His own citizens hate him and send a delegation after him saying they will not have this man reign over them. He returns as king, rewards the servants who multiplied the money, strips the one who hid his mina in a napkin, and orders his enemies brought and slain before him. That's the story. The word is, I'm going to butcher this, I apologize, pragmatuses, and it's a commercial verb in Greek, Koine Greek, meaning do business, trade, or invest. In 1611 English, occupy carried that economic sense. An occupier was a merchant. Every modern translation renders it that way. Put this money to work until I come back. Engage in business until I come. Do business with this until I come back. That's NASB, ESV, NIV. So the entire premise here, occupy until I return, is, in my opinion, Gene Bailey intentionally misinterpreting and misreading the Bible to get what he wants out of it and ignoring what the Bible was communicating. That's fucking vile.
But what does occupying really mean? What does it look like? To start with, the epitome of occupying is a military term.
No, it's not really. It's a financial term in this context. It is not a military term.
Meaning to take or hold possession or control of territory. And until Jesus himself taps us on the shoulder and says, "Come on. Well done, good and faithful servant." We are supposed to be fighting and gaining territory for God.
That is fucking wild. Knowing the context behind what he's saying and the verse that he's referring to here, it is fucking wild to hear him say this.
Numerous times in the Bible, God encouraged his people to go in, take, and occupy the land that he was giving them. Then Caleb silenced the people before Moses, saying, "Let us go up and occupy it, for we are well able to conquer it." Numbers 13:30, net. "Look, I have already given the land to you. Go, occupy the territory that I, the Lord, promised to give to your ancestors, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and to their descendants." Deuteronomy 1:8, net.
So he's quoting Old Testament shit, and claiming that Jesus told people to do that? Really?
Other translations of Luke 19:13 read, "Engage in business until I come."
Yeah, that's what it fucking meant.
ESV, "Put this money to work until I come back." NIV. Jesus was speaking in a parable concerning 10 servants who were each given 10 minas, about 3 months' wages, with the responsibility of multiplying them. The clear implication for our purposes in this book is, I'm coming back, so be ready.
The clear implication is that I'm coming back. Well, Jesus, again, did not believe that he was coming back. Jesus didn't believe he was even going to die. The Jesus coming back doctrine emerged by necessity because no one expected Jesus to die. They thought that he was like the Son of Man who was going to bring about God's kingdom on earth. I mean, later on, at the very least, they thought that. Jesus didn't think that at the time. Son of Man was like an Old Testament term for God's prophet who's going to fulfill their prophecies or whatever. And when Jesus died, everybody was like, what the fuck? This doesn't make any sense. He's not supposed to die. And Jesus himself, sitting on the cross, said, my God, why have you forsaken me? Now, Christians have come up with all kinds of creative little reasons or explanations for why Jesus would have said such a thing. It results back to like the book of Psalms 93 and all kinds of shit. But at the end of the day, Jesus just didn't think he was going to die. That's the bottom line. And he did. So what happens? His apostles and everybody start going around and telling everybody, he'll be back. He'll be back. Just stick around long enough for Jesus to return in our lifetime. And before you know it, you'll be rewarded. So this whole thing about him occupying until he returns, complete nonsense, all the way down.
But that doesn't mean disengaging and sitting back on your laurels. It means get moving and working while you watch. Both of our fathers were in the Air Force. One term that Terry's father used repeatedly in child rearing was something that he used as an officer. Hustle, 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 hustle. The definition of hustle from the American Heritage Dictionary, 5th edition, is to move or act energetically and rapidly.
Dude, I love how he gives us like the addition and everything for a dictionary definition, but doesn't give us real quotes or real citations from any historical fact that he cites. Not one.
To push or force one's way, to act aggressively, especially in business dealings. In other words, move it out in all areas for God. Use your talents and finances, whatever I've given you, to multiply and increase your territory. Increasing what God has given us is biblical. Taking what we have and sitting on it is not. Answer this question. How can you prosper and expand territory, which includes your influence and values upon your circle, if your freedoms are being shut down? You can't. That's why communism and socialism fail.
Oh boy.
Those opposed to Christianity, including communists, socialists, and Marxists, want to take our territory and reduce our influence.
Bro, this is fucking insane. Oh my God, dude. I feel like books are underappreciated in how fucking insane they are sometimes. Like, I've made my living by watching Kenneth Copeland say insane shit on TV. But his weird little nutcase acolytes say even more insane shit in their books. Like, unglued from reality shit. Really, really wild.
Occupying involves growing and being productive people, building the walls of protection around our expanding territory, monitoring the gates, and guarding our biblically based values that are our constitutional right. Gene wrote in his previous book...
Right, because this is written by Gene and his wife. I don't know who wrote which sections, but I guess his wife wrote this one.
Flashpoint of revival. But God is waiting on the church to rise up. Stop looking for the other guy to do it. God uses masses to create waves, but those masses are made up of individuals. God uses individuals. He's all about the ones. Like a stone being tossed into a lake, quite often it is the one moving in faith who begins the ripple that becomes a wave.
Okay, I just grabbed Flashpoint of Revival, the Third Great Awakening and the Transformation of Our Nation. All legal-like. Yeah, legal. I got the book all legal-like. because I don't do things illegally, you see. Ever. It's a policy I have to always do things illegal-like.
I'm coming for you. You motherfuckers, I'm coming for you. Yeah. All legal like. Yeah, legal. We'll do it on your terms, motherfuckers. Our government needs stopped. Stopped.
By far my favorite video of all time. Anyway, point is I downloaded the video. I downloaded the book. Oh, legal like. Yeah, legal. We'll do it on your terms, motherfuckers.
Can we turn this nation around? Absolutely. Is it going to be a battle? You bet. But we have to start. We have to start at the local level, at our neighborhoods, and our local school boards and churches. Not afraid to push back and preach the uncompromising truth. We have to vote with our pocketbooks, hitting businesses supporting woke ideology where it hurts most.
Oh my God.
We can't be lethargic and think our seemingly small part doesn't matter. Without you added to the others being undivided as one entity, the wave never forms. You, yes you, choosing a local coffee shop over Starbucks, saying no to Target and Disney, turning off secular media affecting their ratings, canceling woke companies before they have a chance to cancel you. That's where we have to turn this around.
What the fuck? Canceling woke companies before they cancel you. Saying no to Target and Disney. No, Target and Disney. You're not going to run your companies the way you see fit. This is a fever dream. Like, this whole thing is just a massive fucking fever dream. All of the shit that he talks about in this book is fucking wild, dude.
Let's face it, there is evil in all parties that have either been bought out or intimidated. The time for autopilot thinking is dead and gone. We all need to be fully engaged and alert, a watchman over every area of our lives. Sitting on your sofa flipping the channels with popcorn and soda while America is burning and our kids are being indoctrinated, just occupying space, is not what Jesus meant. Yes, a president is critical, but he or she can't change the culture or the hearts of a culture.
Fucking please, that's not what Jesus meant. He says just occupying space is not what Jesus meant. Jesus didn't mean any of that shit. It literally meant trade, sell things until the king returns. The twig and berries on somebody to so completely brazenly make shit up like this. It's fucking wild. Check it out. I just got a copy, all legal-like, of course, of that book, Flashpoint of Revival by Gene Bailey. It's pretty poor quality, but I'll tell you this. The tools that I've built to clean up a book and to convert it with text-to-speech, I'm going to have this cleaned up and ready to listen to before you know it. Maybe tonight.
That starts with us. Is it going to be a fight? You bet. Are we in the last days? You bet. But Scripture tells us to occupy until he comes, not wait for the next bus.
No, it literally does not say that.
Look, we are already making an impact. We can't wimp out now. During the process of writing this book, we were consistently seeing updates that we've informed you about. Here's another one. In July 2023, the following report came out. As of August 2023, the movie Sound of Freedom, a powerful and sobering faith-based film, has grossed $2,048 million worldwide.
That's 248 million worldwide. I'm sorry, the text-to-speech system is not perfect, but it's pretty good in my opinion. Sound of Freedom, yes. Sound of Freedom was a QAnon movie that was completely disconnected from reality, and it was based on the made-up story of this dude who claimed to be a child trafficking sting operator. He'd go into these places and save these children, and it was all just an insane fever dream. None of it was real. And in fact, real child trafficking organizations specifically requested that this guy stop doing what he's doing because he was tipping off a bunch of these international crime syndicates or whatever that they were being watched, and they were fleeing. They were bolting. And the real organizations with the real authority to go in and really arrest these people didn't have the opportunity because this fucking idiot was tipping everybody off. So anyway, the Sound of Freedom was a QAnon fever dream, is the point here. It was not about a real guy who did real, actual, genuine good work.
Meanwhile, Disney lost $900+ million on their last 8 releases. Diana?
I don't know if that's true, but I seriously doubt it, and I don't know why I give a fuck anyway.
Ackerman, in an article on Samuel Adams, wrote, "Early on, he realized that revolutions don't require a majority to prevail, but rather an irate, tireless minority keen to set brushfires in people's minds."
Okay, so is he saying you should be an irate, tireless minority ready to commit arson? I mean, he's saying this in a subtle way, but the message is most definitely not that subtle.
Let's be the ones setting brushfires of freedom.
Brushfires of freedom. Brushfires of freedom. I love it. That is so fucking stupid.
Like ripples lead to waves, brushfires lead to wildfires. While writing this chapter, horrific wildfires raged through Maui, Hawaii, destroying property and taking lives.
And Biden was down there lighting the fires himself with non-climate change safe matches, right?
We would never rejoice in that kind of physical devastation. However, in the spiritual realm, we can see a prophetic wildfire blowing through this nation and burning the evil agendas and spirits behind them.
Okay, then why did you say but? These are two different things. We would never rejoice in people suffering and dying, but
we need a wildfire of sanity to sweep across the land, burning up the lunacy. Bless me indeed. When thinking of occupying, we'd be remiss if we didn't remember the audacious, faith-filled fellow in the Old Testament named Jabez.
Named what? Jabez? I think probably Jabez. I've never heard of this one, I don't think.
He was all about occupying and letting God expand his territory. And Jabez called on the God of Israel, saying, "Oh, that you would bless me indeed, and enlarge my territory, that your hand would be with me, and that you would keep me from evil, that I may not cause pain." So God granted him what he requested, 1 Chronicles 4:10 and KJV. What an amazing prayer. And
I find it fascinating that he keeps jumping from Bible translation to Bible translation to Bible translation. Like, he's cited the King James Version, the New King James Version, the NIV, the RSV, the, what were the others? Wait, he has a whole bunch that he quoted here. The NET, he quotes the NET all the time. He quotes the AMP version. Why is he jumping from translation to translation? The KGV, not the NKGV, but the KGV is the only one that says occupy until I return in Luke. The NKGV correctly translates it to something related to selling stuff, because that's what the verse was about. But he's selectively picking out verses or translations that are most advantageous to him. And that's, like, so dirty, really.
And God granted his request. Ye have not, because ye ask not, declares James 4:2, KJV.
Again, KJV. Why KJV instead of NKJV, which he cites literally the next sentence? Regarding Jabez, 1 Chronicles 4:9 and 10, and their location, so apparently these sit in a bare genealogical list, 9 chapters of names in Chronicles, as an abrupt aside. Jabez appears nowhere else in the entire Bible. No narrative, no father named, no tribes stated explicitly, no account of what he actually got. None of that. The text drops him in, records the prayer, says God granted it, and returns to the name list. The name is a pun, apparently. Yabetz. It's a letter scramble of Otseb, meaning pain or sorrow. His mother named him that because I bore him in pain, quote unquote. The prayer's closing line, that I may not cause pain, is him asking to escape his own name. That's the literary point of the verse. And it's the part of the story that Gene Bailey completely dropped or ignored. I find that's really interesting. Like he completely missed the point of that name being dropped in the first place. Fucking wild, dude. The lies, the nonsense, the misunderstanding, ignoring context, throwing it out completely is fucking wild. So he wrote, Jabez received because his motives were honorable, citing now Jabez was more honorable than his brothers. It never says that's why the prayer was granted. Bailey inserted that completely out of thin air. So he just like made that whole thing up about Jabez. Why did he even bring up Jabez? Are there not better examples? That's why I didn't know what the fuck he was talking about when he said Jabez. Let's listen to this one paragraph one more time now that we have that context about Jabez.
Bless me indeed. When thinking of occupying, we'd be remiss if we didn't remember the audacious, faith-filled fellow in the Old Testament named Jabez. He was all about occupying and letting God expand his territory. And Jabez called on the God of Israel, saying, "Oh, that you would bless me indeed, and enlarge my territory, that your hand would be with me, and that you would keep me from evil, that I may not cause pain." So God granted him what he requested, 1 Chronicles 4:10 and KJV. What an amazing prayer. And God granted his request. Ye have not, because ye ask not, declares James 4:2, KJV. We need to ask God without hesitation to enlarge our territory of influence in the arenas he has appointed us to.
I really don't understand why he brought Jabez into this conversation at all.
Yet we have to ask with the right motives. James 4:3 in AKJV says, "You ask and do not receive, because you ask amiss, that you may spend it on your pleasures." Jabez received because his motives were honorable.
No. At no point does the Bible even imply such a thing.
Now Jabez was more honorable than his brothers. 1 Chronicles 4:9 NKJV. Nothing is more honorable than asking God to expand our territory to promote godly values and freedom, shut down evil that is being celebrated, protect our children, and preserve America's calling to be a conduit for the gospel. There's nothing more honorable than Nehemiah's cry, "Do not be afraid of them. Remember the Lord, great and awesome, and fight for your brethren, your sons, your daughters, your wives, and your houses." Nehemiah 4:14 and KJV. We fight for our circles and territory by occupying with honor. Yes, you can make a difference. You prove yourself where you are. Bloom where you are planted. D.L. Moody made it his mission to answer a challenge he heard while
Fucking D.L. Moody? Okay.
Just a young shoe salesman. The world has yet to see what God can do through a man who was fully devoted to him. He went on to be the most dangerous shoe salesman in Boston.
The most dangerous shoe salesman in Boston, okay.
And a revivalist. Time and time again, heaven takes hold of the earnest underdog who is pressing on to be the best he or she can be. Did you know that Joyce Meyer started out as an assistant minister at Life Christian Center, then a storefront church?
Who the fuck is that, and why do I give a shit?
Smith Wigglesworth was a plumber. Often, such ones become promoted over those with greater gifting. God sees something in them. They are becoming His Word made flesh. They get it into their heart and mind. When that happens, they become explosive. Don't neglect the building up of your mind and inner self. Now, more than ever, we need leaders who, 1. Are lovers in their quest for Jesus, and
lovers in their quest for Jesus. Okay.
Worship intimately, brothel.
Worship intimately. I love it. Go on.
2. Are warriors in their unwavering courage to dismantle the gates of hell. By this I mean they know how to pray. 3. Now how to be statesmen, leaders, and generals discerning what battles to fight. They know when and how to speak. When they speak, they do so with arguments of the Spirit that the enemy cannot stop. Rick Renner said, "The Bible is full of people, no different than you or I, who heard a word from God, responded in faith, came into divine alignment with what God said, and ultimately saw His word to them fulfilled in their lives. And because of these people's commitment to believe and to possess what God had promised, they changed history. I believe as you become true to the voice inside you, you will become the leader God intended you to be at this time in history, and accomplish many of the necessary exploits He needs accomplished right now." Equipped. Most people think they are not equipped enough.
Right, equipped is a subheading. Most people think they're not equipped enough to do something psychotic on Gene Bailey's behalf while claiming it was for God. Am I reading this right?
They're not ready. Well, you know what? God birthed you here for this time, this day, at your age, for this moment. He called you. You're here for a reason.
You're here to pleasure God like a young man should.
There's so many people who are knowledgeable, equipped, and they're sitting in church, waiting for somebody to tell them that they're good enough and they're equipped enough. When I, Gene, think back to my first time in Russia, I came back with an understanding that I had so much of God's word in me that I could have been a bishop of the Christian church in Russia, and I was only 29 years old. My eyes were opened to see that the Russian people had little knowledge of who God is. They didn't understand that He is good. No one had told them that. All they had ever heard was, God is dead.
Okay, wait. The Russians were telling people God is dead. Got it. Go on.
So we have to get off our butts and get moving. The church has been convinced through a lot of reasons, everything from bad pastoring to people who want to control you, that we're not equipped yet.
Who the fuck is saying we're not equipped? And for what? He's talking about literally taking over the U.S. government in a coup on behalf of Christianity. What churches are telling people you're not equipped? The nutcases who are radical enough to promote such an idea in the first place are absolutely telling people they're equipped. And the ones who are not insane enough to try to encourage something like that don't give a fuck. What is he talking about?
We still believe that we're not good enough, or somehow being a Christian is subclass. We have to get the mentality that when Jesus went to heaven and put us in charge here on earth until He comes back, He meant, act on my behalf. Do what I would do. You are on this planet at this time in HISSTORY.
In His story? Wow, that was clever.
There is a divine purpose in God's role. It doesn't matter if you're in a wheelchair or if you can't talk. There's something that you can do, but only you can do, for people only you can affect. You are to be Christ's voice on the earth. Whether you are 3 or 103, you are here for a reason, to help God's kingdom grow, and to be a voice in this time. When somebody says, I don't want to do it, you can say, hey, here I am. Here I am. Be in Isaiah.
Oh my God. Jehovah's Witnesses quoted this in one of their songs. This is like one of the Jehovah's Witnesses songs. Here I am, send me, Lord, send me.
Then I heard the voice of the Lord saying, Whom shall I send? And who will go for us? And I said, Here am I, send me. Isaiah 6:8 NIV.
Again, he just quoted the NIV. Why is he jumping from translation to translation? I don't understand what the point is here, unless he's trying to be deceptive.
Yes, we are most definitely in the end times. The whole gender identity crisis is another sign.
There's a crisis? A gender identity crisis?
Because it attacks the very core of creation. Where is there left to go? AI? The end times are accelerating.
I'm sorry, wait, what? The gender identity crisis is another sign because it attacks the very core of creation. Where is there left to go? AI. What does that sentence even mean? What the fuck is he talking about? The end times are accelerating, but some think the end times means we just let it go?
But some think the end times means we just let it go. But God calls us to occupy. Just because it's the end times doesn't mean we can't have victory. Remember, what the enemy means for evil, the Lord uses for good. See Genesis 50:20. Jesus said he's coming back for a glorious church, a beautiful bride, not some worn-out, beat-up spinster.
Worn out, beat up spinster. Oh my God, dude. Sorry, I'm chewing. Hang on. Jesus wants a chaste bride, not some worn out, beat up spinster. What a fucking thing to say, dude. There is so much shit in this book that is unbelievable how insane it is. Siri, turn on living room.
The church needs to prepare for the marriage inside and out and be wedding ready. As T.D. Jakes would say, it's time to get ready, get ready, get ready.
That was a wild fucking chapter, dude. Oh my God. Tell me what you think about it in the comments. These people are insane. That was an insane chapter. All right. Well, I guess I'm going to get out of here. Appreciate you guys hanging out with me. It's been fun, and I will see you guys on the flippity flip. All right? Which is to say, Wednesday. All right. Have a good one.